Well, it's definitely dried out. This side's dried out lovely. So, yeah, day 6 or 7. I can't remember. What are we on? 7. 6. 7.
Sorry?
Day
6.
I cleared the rubble. We've moved the crap from one bit to the next bit, which will then move out the way because we've probably something that we need at the back. So we'll move the crap around like half a dozen times today. G-Dog's mixing up some cement bread. And make a lovely baker, wouldn't you?
I would.
That's a baker.
At least I'm not clearing up.
A baker.
Because we can't look.
Yes. Oh, look, there is the floor, yes.
I mean,
yes.
we could actually walk in here now.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we're doing it. So, yeah, look at this. Look at this lovely bit of bark. We're going to turn this into a lovely bit of rock. These are great for just adding dimension to your crawler course. You can use them on the course. You could glue that down and then paint it, and it would make for a nice, easy rock. Oh, G-Dog's popular. Alright, so on this video we are going to be showing you a new technique, and this is actually a sand and cement mix. Brickies mix is what we're looking at, and yeah, we are going to be showing you a whole new method to really help give a good texture and a rock look with no artistry skills whatsoever. So G-Dog's mixing this up. Now this is a mortar mix. It's a little bit runny at the moment. We're going to make it a little bit firmer. And what we're going to do is, basically what we need it to do is kind of hold itself up without sagging. And it still sags when you pat it. So we need it a little bit drier. This is a 3-to-1 mortar mix. And what I mean by that is 3 parts sand, 1 part cement, depending on the area you're doing. And then what I'm gonna do is take a sample of some of this oak somewhere. So this is quite a thick bark area, and we're gonna actually use this as a stamp. We're gonna impress this into the rendered areas to give a rock shape and feature, and this will really give a nice imprint. So it's a really simple way of creating a jaggedy rock edge. Right, where's G-Dog gone? G-Dog? G-Dog? I better check he hasn't died somewhere. Alright, so this is the bark off oak, basically. So you can take a little trip to the woods. You'll often find bits of this on the floor, or an old piece of oak that's fallen down. You can literally rip chunks off it. Large bits of bark, and you've seen before we use this to kind of dress up different areas, and then once we've kind of blended it and painted it, it acts as a really nice backdrop. And again, you could use it to kind of ramp up and spray foam round as well, adding that easy feel of rocks. Granted, it's not huge boulders, but you could always add boulders to it. So I'm going to use these couple of bits here as some presses to basically, what we're going to do is let this dry out, or mix a little bit more into it so it's not so wet. And we're going to take the bark and we're going to press into it. And just give it a little bit of a vibrating shake. And as you can see, when it's too wet, it's not going to form. So this is really critical on how you're going to get your texture. Okay, so we're going to dry this out a little bit. It's still really wet. I thought you were like an old cat, took yourself off to die somewhere.
No, I had to change my battery, and then my daughter phoned me, and I went outside and I lost signal. Like, hello, and then I thought I got WhatsApp, so why didn't I phone her back on WhatsApp? Anyway, yeah, sorted.
All right, so I've now stiffened this up with a bit of sand and cement because before it was a little bit runny. So basically all you're going to be doing is just performing a simple print. Give it a little shake and just ply it off. Now what you'll get is all of this texture, which you're not going to see until you paint it and it's dry. But it does make for a really quick and easy... You right there?
I'm watching.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning.
Oh, learning, yeah. And then you can use, little bits like this, and you can just roll that into the cement, and it'll create simple rock faces without having to kind of carve anything. And that's basically what we're going to do. And then once this all dries, this will all be up here. And when you dry brush it, it will look absolutely spectacular. Now, if you're doing this once the course is dried, you will have to just spray a small bit of water on the surface of the cement so that this can adhere to it. Otherwise, what will happen, this will suck the moisture out of this, create an air gap, and it will just fall off, which we don't want to do. Right. G-Dog with the sprayer, just a light misting over the area. Lovely. And then we can basically render up and then start stamping once it's had a little bit of time just to settle. Right, so actually when we were removing all the rubble, on the rubble pile were these old school clay pipes for drainage, for farm drainage. And we picked up some, I think this is 4-inch by the looks of it. There's also some big ones down there, which are about 6-inch. And then there's some, oh no, there's 4-inch. They must be 6-inch and they must be nearly 5 to 6 inches, 5 inches, 4 inches. Anyway, I picked up a few and we just plonked one in the middle so that we can kind of drift around, although that is pretty skinny there, so yeah, maybe you just have to pull out the drift quickly.
I don't know. I think it's a crash course.
Yeah, maybe, but who knows? I mean, you're going to come off, it feels like you want to flow this way anyway and then straighten up so that you can go back on here anyway, so it's not like you're going to be coming sideways through here, because you're going to want to be going back that way. So really the flow feels like you're going to come here, you're going to drift a little bit around here, and then kind of straighten it up and then come back around here. That's what it feels like. And it feels natural like that.
It does feel natural that way.
So, right. So, I mean, you wouldn't have to press or do any shapes if you didn't want to. But for this purpose of the video, as we're saying, you can kind of just really stamp into the rock face now and just create a much more organic effect using, you know, large bits of oak to press in, although I can't get that one in and it's bent, so that one don't work.
That one don't work. No. Anything bigger than that.
Yeah, that one might work if we cut it down to the height that we need. So about there, G-Dog. He moved everything again. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's old. Go, G-Dog. Bluntest saw in the world. You know, using all the sides of the oak. Well, there we go. There's a couple of pieces now. So we can just get it up and just roll it out. Doing this around some of the other areas of the course, just to take out some of the flatness of some of the areas in which we've created. Look at that piece. Lovely.
Once that's painted, that
yeah, it'll look great once it's all painted. Just using different ends of it just to... And this is basically a tip for anybody that kind of does like, oh, how do you carve a rock? Well, you don't really need to worry about carving a rock. You just need rock shapes and you can create this kind of organic rock effect around it. So, and if you get a bit of repetitive pattern, that's what the little chunks are for, so that you can then go in and just roll out anything you like, just to kind of break up any repetitiveness. And then the other thing you can do is, in a bit, this will be what we class as green in the trade. So it's in between being completely cured and still pliable. And you can then start to kind of line some lines into it if you really wanted to kind of add a bit of line work into it, just to create a more organic feel. Okay, so we just smacked up a load of foam against the wall. We've still got a few areas to go, but what we want to try and do is get a coat on all of this so we can tone it all the same. Sometimes that helps give you a better look at what it's going to look like. As all one good, G-Dog is opening up some paint, and this is just your basic satin wood. We found as long as it's water based it will be fine. This is a wood paint, it's black, it's water based. We're going to do a 50-50 mix, or maybe even a little bit more because G-Dog says it's quite thick.
Yeah, like me.
Okay. Hey, you said it.
They agree.
So we're going to mix this in a bucket, get the drill on it, and probably do, well, I guess a litre of water and a litre of paint, and we'll see what it's like. We just need to get the base coat done, and we're not worried about covering it entirely because this is going to be a light colour. So we just want to do is get right in all these little dark areas so that when we do the light heavy dry brush over the top, we've still got that deep dark crevices of all the rocks. Right, you ready, G-Dog?
Yeah.
Let's get mixing. Alright, so we're getting messy. We're getting very messy. We're just spraying it now with black. You can hear it creaking and cracking as the moisture sucks into the cement. Basically what we're doing is hitting it with the black so that when you put another colour over the top, it's not being completely sucked up into the cement. And also you can hear it all creaking and cracking. And yeah, it gives a cool effect just doing this, just literally splattering it with black paint. Ooh, it's getting dark. Looking good. It's always the craziest point. You're just hitting it with as black and grey, just dark, and then once you start hitting it again with the lighter colours, you really start to see the detail come out. So we're just going to keep hitting it with black until this whole place is black. G-Dog's up there slapping it on, getting this all nice and covered with a real wet wash so that the next couple of coats don't suck straight into the stone. And then we're going to hit it with an urban slate, and then a gemstone, and then a natural stone, and that should bring it all back up. All this wall that you can see up here, all of that, it's all going to be blacked out. This is looking pretty cool with the blacked out over here. So yeah, getting there slowly. Alright, here we go again. So it's not really a day 7 because we only did about 2 hours yesterday. Just a couple of hours tidying up, painting all the coarse black in a black wash. And today we're going to be focusing on doing the drop side of the waterfall, and I'm going to start kind of laying down the next heavy layers of paint. Here he is. You're right there.
Cleared up again.
Cleared up again.
Well, I made a little bit of a dent. Walk in and out now, but...
Oh, there we go. Excellent. Well, it's very black.
Yeah, actually it is. It
looks good.
Looks really good.
Yeah, looks good. Excellent.
Doesn't look very black on the camera though.
Well, it's not gonna.
It looks grey.
Yeah, it's still very wet there.
It's still very wet in a lot of places because it's not summer.
Oh, why not? I'm working down here with the hairdryer, drying it all up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well. Yeah, we'll be alright. Be able to get a bit of action on there. There's a few
Yeah,
puddles.
like in here. Where
Yeah, a
it's
few little deep puddles, yeah.
I've tried to brush it out.
Yeah, be alright. Get the heat gun on it. That'll work. It's nice and dark in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Although I've missed a bit up there. And Lee's painting up in that corner black.
I missed a bit.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Until you go around with the camera, I ain't going to know what.
You can see it just there. That bit right up in that corner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, looky. Gonna definitely have to black up there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
At some point. Put a piece of fabric all the way along there.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to really kind of tone it right in, so this is all
That's still
dark.
pretty light over there, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not glary.
No.
It comes through, but it's not glare, so I'm not worried about that. Cool. G-Dog's doing his special again. I left him alone for 5 minutes. So yesterday, there was a nice pot of green screws on the side. G-Dog's been tying it up today. Where's the green pot of screws, G-Dog?
It's around here somewhere.
Well, of course they're around here somewhere. I mean, they were here yesterday.
What, like that?
Well, we know, yeah. They saw it on the video yesterday. So this is the area that we use the bark for stamping. So it's a really cool way of just creating organic texture. It's come up really nice. And up here, this is just us kind of spooning it on, like just lumping it, folding it. We didn't press or anything, did that? We just to break it up a little bit. And once we start putting green and moss around it all, it'll come up really well. The other area that we did was over here. And we just got rid of that flatness of the polystyrene in there. Again, just by putting a bit of mortar and slapping it on. And again, we'll be putting a load of green in the areas. Yeah, looking good. Alright, so we're starting to really kind of lighten it up now. So obviously we blacked it with the wash. And then I just used the slate grey, which you can just see over there. I'm using quite a thick brush. And all I'm doing is just the same direction. Not kind of squiggly. I'm just dragging up or down. Depending on, you know, what I'm doing. But I'm not worried about kind of getting in. You know, it's a thick brush. I kind of just pushing on and I'm just dragging it up the wall. And it hits where it hits and it touches where it touches. That's the whole point of doing the black and the greys. And then our final stone colour, we should be able to really start seeing a lot of colouring and shading coming in. This is obviously going to end up a little bit more, it's like a bluey grey, this dusty gem. It's a nice colour. And then we've got natural stone going over the top of it. And we'll do this whole area and we'll have a little look, see what it looks like. See whether we need to add anything or do anything. And then I'll leave G-Dog to do the rest of the whole course.
No. Can't find it.
Well, you moved it all this morning.
Look, I moved it from there to there to here to there, then swept. You know.
It's the problem, fractioncy. Every time you fart, that's another brain cell gone. And as you get older, you do a lot. Alright, so I left it about 10 minutes, not to fully dry, but to get tacky. I still want some areas that are a little wet, and then I'm going to overlay it with this colour now. So this is a real kind of natural stone colour. And, you know, keep it nice and thin on the brush. And again, I'm just going to go back in and just do the upstrokes. And hopefully that should lighten it up a bit. Plus I'm also going to use this to just take where the light would normally scratch, but I haven't put too much in there. And yeah, so this should really start to lighten things up a bit. Let's have a look. Alright, so here's a few tips and tricks you can use. So when the paintbrush is relatively heavy with paint, after you've kind of dragged it off a bit, it's still going to be pretty loaded. So what I try to do is do this right at the top. Our light is coming from the top, but when doing simple dry brushing, always imagine the light is coming from directly above. It's a lot easier to figure out and work with, rather than directional light, which then you've got to try and figure out all the shadowing. So while the brush is quite heavy, we're going to hit the top really heavy, because this is where all the light comes from. And as your brush starts to come down, you'll lose a lot more of the paint, so it will actually naturally get darker because you're running out of paint. Now the other thing you need to remember is that if the light is coming down, these little gaps in here would actually be hit with light. Under here would be completely dark, which is why we do what we do. So again, you're going to take a bit of a loaded brush, and we're just going to drag down and just create a bit more light areas. And this works for literally everywhere. We're just going to really heavy ridges so that you get that little bit of contour of the color. So it really does start to pop, and you get this lovely transition of light and dark coming in. Okay, so we're getting there. You can see now I kind of just went back in with the urban slate to fill in just a low light, some of these just a little bit too black. I don't mind these big gouges being black, but felt like these needed a little bit more grey in them. And now what I'm going to do is, you can just start seeing a little bit here actually, is just taking a slightly more chalky white. So it's not bright white, so it shouldn't really give a snow effect. Using a rag to wipe off literally as much as I possibly can, and I'm using a more of a precision brush, because what I want to be able to do now is just come in and just start highlighting. Now this is a little time consuming, but I think the results are really going to be spectacular, because it'll just give that definition already. You can just see it starting to pop, so we'll get that really nice light stone effect. So I'm going to give that a go across there, and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. Alright, so we've created a drop down in front of the waterfall, so that gives us a new crawler line, goes right up to this corner, all the way down, and you can go into the water trough and then out of the water trough and back up. And then what we're going to do is, once we've sculptured this all in, we'll be able to then exit into it and out to it, and we might even just about get under there maybe. Who knows? I don't know if you will. Looks awfully skinny, but yeah, we can definitely bring the rocks in through here, kind of bring it over. I'm going to spray foam all of this just to give texture, and all the way along this edge here, all the way up here, just so that we can then carve in. Alright, so G-Dog's just using some good old-fashioned heat glue, and we're going to be sticking a load of trees and bushes up on the mountainside, as you would see, and that should really kind of break it up. And look, well, it does, it looks wicked. We'll get some natural moss and pack that into a few places around the bushes as well, even some little tufts of artificial grass, so that should break up the grey quite nicely. Yeah, so these really do make a lovely difference. Just breaks up the background, really brings it into the theme. So, and again, these are just all from really cheap and nasty Christmas wreaths. So when Christmas comes around,
Can't say nothing nasty about Christmas. Christmas is good fun. They're not nasty. They're cheap.
They are cheap, and you'll find these in your kind of budget home depot places, and yeah, come Christmas they'll be on the shelves, and they're actually really nice. Like, this is them close up, you know, they're not that bad. They're plastic, they're just molded bits of plastic, so they actually look really good. And I suspect, as with most things, if you hit this with a heat gun, it would shrivel the ends up a little bit and just change the look of it. So once you get them all in place, you can just go around with a heat gun and just quickly zap them with a bit of heat, and then you'll get a little bit of, you know, these things will just shrivel up a little bit, and it'll just give it a bit more dimension rather than them all looking the same. Why stopped? I tell you, do you ever watch any of our videos?
I don't need to, I make them.
But you forget!
I forget anything anyway.
You should go back, re-watch what we did.
Okay.
Alright, we've got the jawbreaker and a good old defender. G-Dog is going to try some lines.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little play and see, well, see what's doable and what's not doable. Right. Should we give you a go first? Because
yeah,
I've had a little play on a few areas.
Did,
I only a few areas, but you know, don't be too.
I don't know where to start. I'm quite excited.
I'll start what you can do.
I'll go around there
and see how you get on. And then we can take the learner wheels off and put some big boy wheels on.
Yeah, that looks cool though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. Definitely looks good. Well, in scale, you travelled about 20 foot before you fell off the ravine.
I did well.
Don't worry, the camera wasn't filming, honest.
You sure?
So just gonna go and do it. Instant replay. Instant replay. Ooh, and floppity flop. Oh,
saved it that time.
the brain kicked in.
Oh, it's dark in there. Lights.
Bind button once. No, that's not your bind button. That's the trim buttons. Bind button. There we go. Every day's a school day. There we go. You're not going to be able to get up that way, so you've got to cut across the corner, which we still haven't put anything in. So yeah.
Oh, round the road.
Yeah, this is we're going to put something across here because that is a huge deep divot. So what we're going to do is maybe just cut a log or something and put it across there so that it makes a nice pass through. But come on then, crack on. Right, I'm going to take the camera away because I think G-Dog's having a moment because the camera's on. I've actually brought some different tyres today to muck around with the jawbreaker. On some 1.3s, some RC all-wheel drive wheels. It gets very slippery about now. It just struggles here. It's like an incline on an incline, and it just keeps going sideways until eventually it finds some grip. But then you're way offline once it does, which then causes you a bit of an issue. So I do like this line because you think, oh, I'm just going to go straight up sideways, and it doesn't actually do that. It pushes you off to the side, and then you've got to try and readjust on an angle, and yeah, it makes for a very, very tricky even trying to give it some wheel speed, you just get wrapped up into there. Yeah, I like it. It's good. So there's a double wheel rut right there, so we're stuck in the wheel rut there. Just cannot get the traction on it. It's probably just a smidge light. Yeah, at the moment I just put a little bit of pressure on. I get a bit of traction, and then it goes up over the ridge.
But you've got to touch it to make it go?
Yes, because it's super light. G-Dog has confirmed it's definitely a lot slower.
And yeah,
It's a lot more...
like big divot. Oh, every time.
get the camera out and it's over. Can you reach it, or do you need the... It's not in here, it's in the other side.
Oh, no. I was enjoying that.
I'm not going to go in the divot either because there is a ton of paint in there. It's where it's all pulled. Ooh, just pushing you to that edge. We got it though, we got it. Coming inbound. I'm gonna hook a left. Oh yeah, baby.
Nice one. You've got to make the track harder.
Yeah, I told you.
It just goes up there. But do you want a rig that just goes everywhere?
Well, no, but it's a nice line though.
Hmm. That's a big divot.
That's a big. I mean, you can see the articulation of the jawbreaker. I've got literally the back end swinging around. Yeah, it's crazy. So in the next episode, you're really going to want to hang around because we're going to be turning something like this into some super cool looking grass. Previously, we've used sawdust. I'm going to put a video in the description for that. But this time, we're going to be using something a little different, showing you a little different technique. And this will save you an absolute fortune. So just done a bit of a tyre swap because I had these mud swingers, or slingers, I think they are. And they're proper chunky. And I just wondered whether they would actually work better on some of the inclines that we've created here. Oh, I thought the answer was going to be yes. It's definitely finding better traction. It nearly actually just went straight up there. So straight away, they definitely seem better. Still couldn't quite get that line to go up. Really nice tight gap. As you can see, the wheel just has to scuff under that rock.
Must be some wet paint up there. Yep, there is.
Such a lovely line. Alright, so I'm back down the track, just going to be adding in some more paint, more colour, more detail. We'll put on the lights in a minute, but I really like the fact that how dark it is down this back edge. We only actually have 2 skylights up here. 1, 2, and they're right back over the far side of this course, so literally right at the beginning of each side, so that as you kind of progress, if you didn't want to put back lights on and use the rig lights, it would look absolutely awesome. And yeah, you can see how I've started to pick out all the different stony coloured. It does look a little white on the camera. I'm not sure if it does come across white. There's no white in it at all. It's just really light stone colour and greys. So hopefully once we start getting some contrast in there with some green and some browns, this already looks quite browny anyway round here. It's kind of murky colour, but I'm actually going to be painting some watered down wood glue and sieving natural dirt over the top of it and allowing that to cure, so we still get that kind of natural feel rather than this kind of man-made feel. Although this doesn't look too bad, I have to say, you know, it looks pretty cool. Texture's nice. Right, I suppose better get this bit covered up as well at some point. Start cutting some of this back. This has all gone off now, so we can start sculpturing that in and that side once we've finished off here. Now we are wondering whether in the back here, whether we're going to test it with water, because water will look great. If it does cause a huge amount of splashes and we're getting a lot of oversplash on the drift track, which could be a good possibility, we do have a piece of glass that we could put up, which wouldn't look great because it would have splashes on it, but it would protect the drift course. Or we're going to get a really high powered mister, a fog machine, you know, the little pods that you put in water and they kind of create mist, and put it in there, and hopefully that'll fold all the way down the sides. We're also going to be putting one right up in the back over there, so this whole area becomes foggy and gnarly. So lots of things to put in, but yeah, you can really see the difference as I transfer across to the side that's had all the greys and the stone colour put in compared to the side that doesn't. We're also probably going to change this here. We've utilised what we had left, which is fine, you know, it does the job, but it doesn't quite give us the same effect as that. So I'm not sure whether we're going to change it or whether I paint it and see what it looks like and then decide. Painting it wouldn't take too long. I mean, literally, you know, 20 minutes and I'd have that relatively painted up enough to see what's going on. We've also still got to put quite a bit up over the top of here. Oh, there's so much to do. All right, so we're back using this stuff. This is a powdered resin glue, basically, and get it from most good hardware stores. Probably do a version of this. A lot of the labels all completely worn away, so it's difficult to even to show you what it is. But basically, you mix this with water to create a paste, and then this is a hard, well, it sets hard and goes like a resin glue, and will actually go clear as well. So it's pretty good. It's a nice cheap way of doing it, and it is super tough. So what I'm going to be doing is using the resin glue. Now I've mixed it up. It tells you how to do it on the box. I think it's like 2 parts. Well, let's have a look. One shot. So it says, yeah, by 2 parts, 1 shot to 1 part cold water. So a 50-50 mix until you kind of get a nice smooth consistency. This is probably a little bit thick compared to how you want to use it, but I don't want it to kind of go too far when I'm spreading it around. So I'm going to use the brush to stipple this resin glue on top of, and then we're going to get some natural dirt, which I did bring in some bags. This good old dry, it's nice and dry. And what I'm going to do is take a good old-fashioned sieve, and sieve the soil onto the areas in where I've put the glue, and then we'll let that cure, and then repeat the process with grass and other materials to really add the ultra realistic dynamics to this area. Right, I'm going to slap some glue on. Okay, so with this, you don't want to get too far ahead, so kind of do a patch and then get some dirt and get it sieved on. Okay, so you can start seeing the dark patches where the glue is. It's starting to suck the moisture in through the mud. So we're going to leave that now. I wouldn't recommend kind of trying to tidy up or hoovering it up or anything until the following day. Let this completely cure so that you've got good bite on the resin or the glue or the wood glue or whatever you can use. You can use PVA glue as long as you've got no water like we do. You can use PVA glue to do this. We have water, so we've got to use a resin glue because it's a little bit more durable and waterproof. So, and not there's much water in here, but we still have it. So yeah, this, you know, you can use a normal white glue to do this. And You can then also just spritz the top with a white glue and water mix, and that'll also bind it all together and just hold it even stronger in place. Right, I'm going to do a few more areas where I've got a bit of resin glue still, and get this hit. Okay, as you can see, I've hit a lot more areas. We're definitely going to go for a lot greener, with rocks kind of sticking out more. Landscape terrain rather than rock terrain. Now, the one thing I have done is in that bottle over there is basically added a 50-50 water mix with like a PVA wood glue. That's already a pre-mixed glue that you can buy, and I've just sprayed it over the top so it can kind of bind the last top layer over it as well. So now we've got a bind underneath, and we just sealed the top, and I'm going to let that cure. And then what we do is we just put a little brush nozzle over the hoover, and we gently rub it over the whole thing, and that will pick up anything that's not attached or glued. And then we just fill in the missing sections with grass. We've still got some grass to put on these. We want this really green, some bushes, trees. We're probably going to put a couple of trees on this line and some bushes, some nice trees here. Yeah, it's definitely going to look really good. A lot more time spent decorating this one and dressing it up than the last, and well, just keep going, I guess. So there we go. It's technically only 6 days because we've only been here half a day yesterday, half a day today.
No, I've been here all day.
Yeah, that don't count though.
Cheers.
So, yeah, I think...
mess up there, look.
I know.
Stop showing it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so we're going... It's the slow part now. We got the grind to get it all painted and done. You know, we want to get a mud colour as well, so you know that we've got rocks sticking out of it, mud, grass. Yeah, it's definitely going to slow down, but we'll get the course to a crawlable state, and then we'll do what we normally do, is in between people coming, we'll dress up and keep dressing it up and changing it until we reach the point where we're going to do it again.
Because then after dressing this up, the next bit is that bit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah, we'll get the. We're going to start working on the drift course once all the painting's done. So we need to get all the painting done, and then we'll start sorting the drift course out, and that's going to be good.
Sorting all this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we're going to go home, and we'll get gear up ready for next weekend, and hopefully hit it hard and get this painting done. If you're new to the channel, there's a ton of these episodes where we just started, you know, doing I don't know whether is it the right thing to do? I don't know.
Look, you said when we started this, we're going to knock a hole through the wall. We knocked the hole through the wall, and then you went,
I don't know. Look, I think once it's done, we'll be good. We haven't had as many good weekends down here as we'd like. So we want a couple of good weekends down here. Couple of good weekends, we should see ourselves in front, and I think I'm just nervous. I want to get the course back open to the public, get going. June we got our beginning of first date of our crawler competition, so times are ticking.
Yeah. So if you're new to the channel, welcome.
Yeah, hi and bye. We're out, and we'll catch you on the next one. I would normally do like a bit of a cliffhanger, but there isn't.
There isn't one.
No, there's not. So this week. So yeah, we'll see you later.
Have fun crawling.
Bye.